Alright, everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to The King's Speech. So, a couple of quick disclaimer things before we dive into this Alita video. Some of you might have noticed, my eyes are a little bit swollen and puffy. So, those of you that watched my One Piece review video this morning would know I had a bit of an allergy attack hit me this morning. So, that's why my eyes got all puffy and look a little bit odd, but I already took some allergy medication and things, so I'm fine. I don't have any issues like seeing out of my eyes or anything, so no big deal there. Swelling will go down a little bit. Always happens like this whenever I get one of these. So no big worries there. Just want to put that out there in case anyone was kind of wondering if something was happening or anything like that. I was worried about it. So nothing to worry about with regards to that. Like I mentioned last week and in this morning's video review, I do have a fan running in the background, so if you hear a noise, that's the noise you'll be hearing. But like I said last week and this morning's video, it shouldn't really detract from my voice, or shouldn't like overpower anything or be hard to hear or anything like that. But there will just be a slight droning noise in the background in case you're wondering what that was. With that said, I did mean to get to Volume 5 last week. Unfortunately, I had some other things come up, so I didn't have a chance to get around to it. But with that said, we're finally diving into the last volume of the Omnibus of Battle Angel Alita Last Order. I'm probably going to try, we'll see how far I get. I'm going to try to again shoot for about 45 minutes or so for the video. I was debating whether to live stream today or not, but because E3 is going on, I know a lot of mutuals and viewers are also watching the recordings of that. I didn't want to really kind of compete with that, so I decided to record and then let it upload, and then everyone could watch it on their own time. So with that said, and without further ado, let us dive into Battle Angel Alita Last Order Volume 5 with Chapter 75, The World of Fang and Claw. And we see this ugly looking giant flying squid thing with Genome Kingdom delegate of the Venus Republic bioplatform Gizmon. And you just squeeze as you see this chicken horse angler thing supervising these two goblin mice as they're like sweeping up and clearing up inside. As you have Geno Kingdom, Chief Designer, Pissarro Career de Vive, and he goes, "How do you feel, homme de fou?" I hope you can all see the wacky designs. And behind this giant cave, you have Genome Kingdom, Tete, homme de fou. You see the giant beast man made from Zeka's DNA as he goes, "Tell me one thing. How long do I have left, Monsieur Pissarro?" And he goes, "Lifespan encoded into your DNA can be rewritten. Win. Win the Zot and I will grant you more years. More life." He goes, "In addition, I have a special reward for you." And she swirp has a little flower blooms out. And you see this busty blonde woman kind of closed up inside there with these little ringlet curls. And she goes, and Homme de Fou goes, "Oh, Olympa, it's you, but it can't be." And she goes, "My dearest Ygritte, how you've grown." And he's as he's kind of going a little bit animalistic as you see his claws kind of just, he's kind of gritting his teeth in his claws. And you have Pissarro going, "Uh-oh, stay homme de fou, not yet." And, sorry, my brain is so dead today, completely. Olympa goes, "Homme de fou, you may have been given that honorable name when you became the representative of Venus, which will always be Ygritte to me. Ygritte the Finger Chewer." And you see him just getting even more kind of like going beastly as he gets up with a grrr, and he goes, "Olympa!" And you go, "Ygritte the Finger Chewer. Yes, when my claws and fangs were still small and weak, I was known as Ygritte the Finger Chewer." And you see him in his earlier, uglier, kind of mutated forms. He's got what looks like some kind of weird fish head growing out of his back. It was back then the only life I knew was my training in the atelier and the combat of the elimination. After I tore my enemy apart at the elimination, Olympa always held me close. Olympa's scent was unlike the smell of the Guinols or other humans. You see, Guinol is puppet in French, Creatures designed for combat, categorized as haute couture. And he goes, it was a nice scent. Olympa taught me things that other combat instructors didn't. Camouflage, mimicry, to see more than meets the eye. He goes, yes, seeing, thinking, plotting, planning, these were my secret weapons. To take on any enemy, devour any foe. And you see him on this battlefield facing off against all these weird looking horrors as he's ripping all their guts out. And he goes, to be king in this world of claw and fang. To be l'homme de fou, the ultimate Guignol. To be inside Olympus' embrace after battle. I know I'm probably butchering the French, so I apologize. Yeah, but at some point, no matter how much enemy blood I drank or enemy flesh I consumed, there was a hunger I couldn't sate. And you see him just kind of going up and down Olympus' body as he goes, a desire that was my torment. To eat. Oh yes, I want to eat, Olympa. Eat, I want her, eat, I want to, yes, I want to, oh, eat, yes, I want to eat. Ugh. And you see, once he's mutate evolved into, like, his current status, you see on the next page as he's completely ripped Olympa apart. He's, like, ripped her head off, her limbs are all off, and he's kind of biting into her torso. And as he's doing this, but I can't chew this, like, what in the world? It's like, she looks so soft and delicious, but her flesh, blood, and bones were nothing like those of the Guignols or humans. It was Olympa. It's like, I can't do it. Is she an android? Yeah, so it looks like she was an android, so when he's biting into her, you see just like all the wires and the fibers making up her body as she's been torn asunder. He's like, I can't eat her. He's like, she deceived me. She betrayed me. She tricked me. Camouflage, mimicry, her nice smell and her embrace were all a lie. He said, but I deceived myself as well. My desire was not to be king of the Guignols. My hunger was not merely that of an empty stomach. What I truly desired was... And he just lets out another roar as he then bows in front of... God, what is his name? What is his name? Oh, Pissarro. And he bows in front of Pissarro as Olympa goes, I'm sorry I never told you I was an android. But please believe me, Ygritte, there was no deception in my heart. And he's going, I didn't know what was truth and what was a lie anymore. But, and you have Pissarro going, she's quite an antique. It took us some time to repair her. If you win the semifinals, I will grant you ownership. And then you may do with her as you will. Boil her, bake her, I care not what you do. And Homme de Fou goes, my lord, I am of your design. My claws, my fangs, my heart, even my desires. I swear to you, I will make an offering of the enemy's blood for the glory of the Republic and in honor of your omnipotence. I have but one request. He goes, yes, do go on. He goes, all I can find is one wish that I won't regret. And he goes, let Olympa go free. That's all I ask. So we get to chapter 76, Devour and Fatten. And we see Jack Garamba going, it's been 3 days since the Space Angels' historic victory in the Block A semifinals. The 10th Zot was in danger of being shut down, but it's officially resumed and the battle between the Space Karate Forces and the Genome Kingdom is about to begin. And you see Zot 9th Day Block B semifinals. And you see, listen to the roar of this crowd. Jeff, karate chop, don't cancel us like Crush Venus. And you see, to be fair, this herd is all that's left in the empty stands. He's like, oops, were we saving that for NG? He goes, I've never seen a crowd so united. Space Angel fans and even the Jupiter cheering section are all rooting for the Space Karate Forces. The conflict is clear. The people against the power of the state. The official government-sponsored team of Venus is the natural villain here. In the fierce selection trials the other day, the Space Karate Forces acquired 2 new members, Taraba of Super Carapis Karate and Rakan of Armor Piercing Karate. It's like, okay, Karaba can join on one condition. It's like, add this guy too. It's like all this talk of the path and ambition is stifling. He's like, oh, thank you. And you see Zek is kind of hoisting Rakan up by his little gi. And you have Jack going, you may recall Rakan as the wall tripper, so why did Zeka pick him for the team? And you have Cricket going, Rakan is a well-known underworld assassin. He may be extremely perverted, but don't underestimate his killing technique. And you have, they'll face the seeded team of Genome Kingdom. Venus relies mainly on genetically engineered organisms called designer creatures. And Jack's like, but do they stand a chance against a cyborg team with a plethora of biotricks up their DNA? And he goes, well, this is a bit outside my area of expertise, but let's review the history of Venus. As you may know, microengineering technology developed on Venus in an unusual manner due to the planet's poor natural resources. One of the results of this was nanomachine engineering, which came to a head 200 years ago with the advent of the Berserker and Methuselization. But nanomachine engineering was thoroughly regulated by the latter treaty. Therefore, Venus, feeling increasingly threatened, chose to focus on bioengineering, nanotechnology without nanomachines. Under the laws established after the geobiohazard of ES-470, Objet Tre, and various subhuman species were produced for consumption, Venusians began routinely tinkering with their own bodies. Currently in vogue is the Humpty Dumpty silhouette. Venusian biotech, protected by layers upon layers of patents, surpassed other countries' inventions. From daily necessities to vehicles to buildings. These days I hear they even plan to build spaceships and space colonies out of organic living materials. And you see Octo Taxi. It's just the most hideous looking thing I've ever seen. Goes bio-vehicle tool. It's designed by Pissarro Clear. And you have Objet Etre is synthetic life forms genetically engineered for specific purposes, made from human DNA but legally considered consumer goods, categorized as either mass-produced prêt-à-porter or haute couture. And you see, enough with the history lesson. The past 4 championships they took from the military powerhouses, Jupiter Reunion, say it all. Genome Kingdom is humanity's avant-garde. Anticipation is running high here in the stands. And you see, Space Variety courses are sending in their first wave. Taraba, Toji, and Rakan. And you see Taraba going, I said I was fine all by myself. And Toji goes, they're a seeded team. Let's not be caught off guard. And you see, it would be better to cover you from behind. And Rakan's like, but me too? And Cricket's like, is it Cricket or Hopper? I can't remember because I'll call him Cricket. I think it's Hopper, isn't it? It's Hopper, right? 3 going in at once. You can tell they're serious about this. He's like, but I don't see their chief. We all assumed Zek would want to fight first after the other day. And you see Zeka just lounging in a chair, locking back some liquor. He goes, rushing in for payback? That would be lame in my book. Let the underlings take care of the small fry. And you see, Omnibus just kind of prowling out as he's got down on all fours. And he goes, are you hungry, Arduino? You'll feast soon enough on fresh prey. He goes, Bjorn, Shishvash, a selection of monsters on the planet Venus. So you see Omnibus appear to favor hand-to-hand combat in our first encounter, but it looks like he's going to step aside and issue commands this round. And you see 2 of these genetic creations stepping out for the first round. And you have a room, as you see Pissarro going, it has begun. I owe you my thanks, Olympa. The combat abilities of Guinos of the Kynocephalus style are usually far below average. You're the one responsible for HCBE 583 YF26's motivation, intellect, and adaptability. And you see Kynocephalus is dog-head in Greek, a race of dog-headed people believed to have lived in ancient India. And he goes, he desires to set you free. Liberté, such a noble concept. Does he even understand the meaning of the word? And Olympa goes, please tell me, did you make me his tutor knowing that this would happen? That he would suffer? Was this all part of your design? He kind of snaps his fan shut, and he goes, but of course! Certainly every bit was premeditated. There, are you satisfied? He goes, be careful when you question me. This entire discussion could be lies designed to cover up my true intent. The first thing a human baby learns is how to lie. Why, your very being is a lie. A sexual plaything designed for antediluvian males. Omnibus learned his lesson, didn't he? He'll no longer believe a word that drops from your lips. When you see Olympa kind of dropping down, she covers her face in a little bit of despair. She goes, no. Even his wishes speaks to his distrust. He's telling you he no longer... Oh, no, that's... God, Pissarro's still talking as he goes, even his wish speaks to his distrust. He's telling you he no longer wants you, Olympa. And you see Antaraba charges as he goes rushing in, and he does a flying sidekick towards one of the beasts. And you have a gah! As a burst of flame comes shooting out of his mouth and sends it flying back. What does that know? And you see an explosion from the flying kick's force? No! So Bjorn remains unscathed beneath that tough hide of his. And you see Pissarro going, such a lovely secret defense. Metallic hydrogen. Bjorn and Chichivachi's bioreactive armor, so to speak. And you see metallic hydrogen is a superconductive, excited state explosive. And reactive armor, a type of armor that diffuses the impact of a weapon by force of explosives sandwiched between plates. And you see a biomissile barrage this time, as you see these little kind of worm-looking things coming out and just shooting off all these weird fish rockets. And you have, by the way, those spawned within the area. Don't violate the 5-player limit. You have Taraba going, Was that Taraba or someone else? You have a and a whoomp. As you see shockwave pulsing out, and all the rockets just start exploding. You have the shockwave from Toji's fists intercept the ammo. Teamwork at its very best. And you see now Chichivachi turns to Toji, and you see a chish as it comes sliding in with a gack. It opens its mouth and shoots out this laser beam. And you see Toji kind of doing a circular defensive block with a splam as he blocks the attack. And he goes, more powerful than the libido cannon of Anomaly? And you see a mere deuterium fluoride laser. But I call it biogas laser flambe. And you see deuterium fluoride laser is a type of chemical laser on the wavelength of 3.8 microns, created by combusting ethylene and nitrogen trifluoride, then injecting deuterium. Toxic exhaust containing hydrofluoric acid is a byproduct. It does not require electricity as its energy is obtained from the chemical reaction. And you see, meanwhile, Taraba draws fire from the flaming fingers of Bjorn. And you see him just doing like Hunter x Hunter style with Frankenstein doing the same thing, just shooting out these bullets from his arms. You have, are there no limits to this? Equivalent to modern weapons, sure, but this much? And you see, based on the radular teeth of cone snails, but penetrating further than 100mm ramjet bullets at close range. And you see, radular tooth. Cone snails prey on fish by launching a harpoon-like tooth from a proboscis resembling a gun barrel. And you see a Ka as Taraba just takes a fighting pose. And he goes, Super Karapa Sanchin! And you see an attack performed without soul is useless against me. And you see a boom as one of the bullets comes flying by, and Taraba just grabs it by the end. And he just shoots it rocking back straight into its face. And you have a giant boom as you have an explosion. And you see a shoo! As he leaps up during it. So he used the bullet sent it flying back so he could bust open a hole in its armor. And then he he punches straight into that opening with an Atava. And you see all his electricity just crackling out. And you see Kathoom as it just explodes from the inside out. And you see Taraba takes down Bjorn. And you have Pissarro going, a sacrificial pawn to gauge the power of my foe. Omnibus will soon take action. And you see a scratch and a thunk as you see, God, why do I not remember the rapey pervert's name? Apart from the fact he's a rapey pervert. Rakan. You see Rakan's just kind of going choop with a thunk straight through Omnibu's back into his face. And he goes, hey, gotcha, doggy, too easy. And it's no mirage this time. And then you see in the floor next to him, you see like a cocoon opening up as Omnibus rises out of it. And he goes, I was hoping you'd ambush me. You have a, huh? It's like, oh, what's this? And you see a blip blip as the other Omnibus just starts kind of melting and like latching on to Rakan. And he goes, karate masters are good at smashing hard things, so let's try something soft. Oh my god. You see, I can't resist. As you see, he's caught in a literal booby trap. Rakan's just kind of getting squished in by all these titties around him. Oh Lord. And Omnifu goes, I appreciate your holding back. You may now show your true form now, or Duina, and dine. And he said, rum, 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 rum. It's like, devour and fatten up for the battle yet to come. Oh my god. And you see all these giant tentacles are kind of laying under the sand, starting to close in like a fly trap. And he goes, I so envy your indiscriminating appetite. If I had a stomach like your prehistoric abyss, able to digest all of creation, I would now be one with Olympia. As we get to chapter 77, not man, not God, not soulless beast. Just a small water break. And you see a giant creature is covering the entire arena. Our monitors are now informing us that this is Genome Kingdom's third team member, Arduina. This beast is simply ginormous. It has to be against regulations. And then we have a little bit of info on all the karate team members. That's not really super relevant. We see as all the tentacles kind of smashing in on each other. And Pissarro goes, Arduino's only 80 centimeters long at its creation. It eats inorganic matter to grow and divide until it can mature into a giant colony. I don't think I'm going to read the definition of that out. It was Bjorn and Sichavache are there to stall for time and provide nourishment until Arduino reaches maturity. It doesn't go over size regulations by even 1 millimeter. Arduino is a great mimic of other forms, and its regenerative abilities make it practically immortal. Otherwise, it's just a low-level life form with limited consciousness. In order to fully express its abilities, it relies on Omnifu the Tate. And you see Ygritte. You see him almost like conducting an orchestra with his face of like determined concentration. And you see Gumbyan as Arduino just kind of wraps up, I don't know which one it is. Wraps it up. You see Zash as it starts shooting out laser beams everywhere, which then kind of ricochet off of some kind of shields and fire back into it. And you see Gyafoosh as it explodes. And you see a chomp. And you see Toji's come flying out. And he goes, Taraba and Rakan, nowhere to be seen. I fell for the enemy's trap. I've got to escape these tentacles. And he goes with a whip. And he starts laying in a bunch of blows as he goes, super electromagnetic combo strike. And you see a bloosh as he covered in this viscous slime. And he's like, ah! And you see a splurk as he gets kind of absorbed like this water bubble. He goes, my conceit grew with the addition of allies. Turns out I was the one who let down my guard. And you see, meanwhile, Taraba has a tail of his own as you see like these eel-looking things, like these suckers, all surrounding him. And you have a Screech! And you have Pinsake, Bjorn's self-amputated tail. And you see Pinsake jaws made of graphinium, a bio-wolfram alloy. And it's trying to like close in and chomp onto Taraba. He kind of just blocks with both of his hands. And he goes, ironclad defenses polished over a lifetime will bend to no one. Not man, not God, not soulless beast. And he kind of just does a spin attack as he sends it flying. And he grabs it with a snap. What the hell is he doing? And he goes squeala bolt, so he grabs it in an embrace and just starts squeezing the life out of it. And you see again, he's just kind of crushing it from the inside with the force. And he does like a double punch to completely obliterate what's left of it. And you see a list as all its innards are just raining down on where Omnifu is sitting. And you see some even goes flying up to where Pissarro is. And Olympia jumps out of the way with an eek! And he's like, man, no! What is Omnifu doing? And you see Taraba stands strong. Like a mythological hero, he effortlessly slays these monsters. And you see Hopper going, that Squilla blow is unique to Super Carapace karate. A squilla is a crustacean that hunts prey with bullet-like strikes of its limbs. And then you see a splurge from below the tentacles as Toji kind of finally punches his way out, covered in slime. He's like, Taraba. Taraba's like, what a mess. He's like, took some time to escape. And he goes, although its moves seem chaotic, they're clearly targeted. We can't let down our guard. If we just take down Omnibus. Now he's like sprouting these bulbous appendages. You see next to Omnibus, Rakan's just getting slowly crushed by the little titty pile. And Taraba goes, Toji, there's something I must teach you. He goes, an idea lost to the ages. They say there's no first strike in karate. This is not simply a lesson on the morality of a strictly defensive policy. And you see there's no first strike in karate. The second precept of 20 Guiding Principles of Karate by Gishin Funakoshi, 1868 to 1957, who introduced Okinawan karate to the Japanese mainland. And he goes, parry the enemy's attack or disable it. If you have a chance, nip it in the bud. Toji, this ancient lesson is what you must grasp. It teaches that karate is most powerful when its practitioner has mastered defense. And you see Taraba, as the bulbous things like sprout, and you see like almost like the pineapple, like a pineapple like bulbous thing that's starting to like crackle with electricity as it saps out a bunch of laters, and you see a thwunk as Taraba's standing there with like in his fighting pose. And you see delayed detonation plasma pneumocyst ejected from the Akuragi will paralyze then kill. So nematocyst is a subcellular organelle found in jellyfish and sea anemones. The capsules fire a poisonous sting when triggered by a stimulus. And you have Akuragi as organs used to capture prey, seen in sea anemones. And you see Pistars get mad. He's like, your turn to die, damn you. Jeff, this is it. You see a flash as they all start kind of engorging. And you see karate. I was like, oh, this is it, told you. Karate. Shouting just karate. Would have been hilarious, but no, he goes, this is it, Toji. It was karate. As he just explodes all of them off of him without, I think, taking any damage. Or seemingly not. It was what in the world? You see all these spikes sticking out of Taraba's body. And he goes, Super Carapace Senshin destroyed space with special electromagnetic waves to form a defensive wall. But it's fragile in the parts of the body you're inclined to overlook. And you see, you bastard! Oh, shit. So the Toji was a fake, and it was just Omnibus using that whatever weird polymer he covered himself in to disguise himself as Toji. And he goes, are all karateka so easy to deceive? And you see on the next page with the kapop, as Zeka just clenches his fist so hard he snaps the bottle in half. Jeff, chapter 78, A Man's Fist. He goes, hold on just a goddamn minute. It's like the man we took to be Toji was actually Omnibus in disguise, and Taraba has been impaled. And he goes, say what? It's like, then who's this? And you see, that's a fake too. And you see the Omnibus was pretending to give instructions. Next to Rakan is also a fake. It's like, when did they switch out? And you see Rakan going, he didn't kill me right away so as to direct attention towards the dummy. Ugh. It's like all part of his plan. Ugh. It's like, it's no use. My brain doesn't function in this mountain of boobies. We're in a serious trouble sometimes. So and you see a Rakan roll and a crick crack. Ugh. And you see he's kind of just broken his body apart. And you see his disembodied head and ribs and everything else falling out of the booby pile. He goes, now I've done it. Getting bosomed to death wouldn't be so bad. If they were real. He goes, oh, this sucks. As you see all of his body parts drop into the ground. Taraba goes, pretending to be an ally and skewering me from behind. What a low-down, dirty trick. And Homnafu goes, you've been injected with plasma poison, so all that's left is for you to die. See, plasma poison is plasma with superfluid properties. generated by some Venusian combat creatures. Once inside a cyborg, it gradually burns away its parts and circuits. Entirely unlike a biological poison, its classification as such is purely metaphorical. And you see a damn you, and a fash, and a whoosh. As Taraba lashes out behind him with a kick and slices the fake body in half, and Omnibus just jumps out of the way, barely in time. And you see zwip, zwip. This is like an X-shaped cut going around him. What the hell is going on? Oh, and you see him kind of going back down towards Taraba and smashing a fist straight into his face as he goes, "Can't use Sanchin." Oh, and you see that Omnifu's just wailing on him as he's smashing Taraba to the ground. It's like, there's so much soul in these fists. All I see is the face of a beast. What depths lie beneath this visage? And you see a scrack as he lays one final punch down with the boom. As you see Taraba getting, like, cratered into the thing. You have the Great One falls. Taraba seemed to wield enough power to prevail, but in the end, 'twas animal cunning and bestial brawn that took down the Titan. And you see, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. The words of the great Darwin, whom I venerate. That naivete is all that stands in the way of change. How I hate it. Karate should be long extinct. Jeff Yigrick, is it true? Do you have no more need of me? And you see, with the womb, kind of like a vampire rising out of his coffin, Taraba stands up. And Jeff, wow, Taraba stood up. He still has the will to fight? And you see the thump as he's kind of slowly marching forward. And you see the plasma poison should have eaten away his body to the point where it's physically impossible for him to move. He's as hollow as a desiccated insect. He's like, Omnifu, take him out for me. He's a grr and a wump. As Omnifu gets on all fours, Taraba's face has just completely been like smashed in. Goes, I take it all back. You aren't the scum I took you for. No, I plumbed your soul, and you have known great sorrow. No mere beast could harbor such burning passion. To put your life on the line for a cause that takes the fist of a man. Taraba goes, alien beast, I know not why you fight, but I cannot succumb for nothing. Goes, rise like a man and defeat this old fogey. You see, it was at this point in the match that Omnifu made his only mistake, a fatal error of judgment. The best strategy would have been to keep his distance, to deploy Venus's Akuragi remotely, and safely finish Taraba off. Normally, Omnifu would not have given it a second thought, but this time he went on the offensive. The desire to respond with his own fist to this worthy enemy, who called him a man for the first time in his life. And you see, as he's trying to punch Tarada also does a circular block to stop it. And you have subsumed everything else in his mind, as Tarada just does like a spearing attack with both of his hands. You have too short as Omnifu kind of dodges out of the way. And you see a circle block turned into a two-handed thrust caught his arms, but he avoided a mortal blow with a kick to my chest. And Taraba goes, I thank you for indulging my final move. And you see Rakan kind of dancing around behind him going, hee hee, you dweeb. Master Taraba, how can you be such a dork? I don't like that kind of thing, but I can't seem to ignore it. See, and a whoosh. Ooh. As Rakan just kind of slices him in half with a kick. It was blood, blood, blood. Almost forgot how good flesh feels. You have Omnibu and Olympa. As we'll get to chapter 79, the true reason to fight. You have, there it is, folks, a flash of Rakan's depleted uranium kick. Excuse me, my throat's getting dry. He's showcasing his fearsome killer karate. It's like the end, and you have an irk. I see one of the little bolts in his leg comes free. Jeff and Rakan falls apart in midair. As you see his body kind of collapsing again. Like stopgap joints won't do the trick. I'll be back after a major overhaul. And you see Rakan's withdrawal affords Omnibus a narrow escape, and you see his top half trying to crawl away. He goes, but this must be a fatal setback. And you see Olympia kind of crying out, Ygritte! Oh no! And you see Pissarro going, he was lured into exchanging base fisticuffs, like a child in a schoolyard. And she's like, please stop the match. If you don't, Ygritte will surely die. And he kind of slaps her out of the way. He goes, shut up. You're only a pet. Know your place. He goes, fear not, for his brilliant design enables him to survive such damage. But this isn't good. Excuse me. But this isn't good. It appears I'll have to use my last resort. And Olympus like, Ygritte, why do you fight? Is it just in your DNA? Or have you been forced to do so for so long you can't stop? And you see Zack Zolt on a boom as one of the tentacles explode, and the real Toji finally comes flying out. You have, Toji returns from the jungle of fierce tentacles. You see a fish and as one of his arms looks badly burned. And he goes up to Taraba, who's kind of still standing there in the final attack pose he delivered. He's like, Master Taraba. But as soon as he tries to kind of like reach out and touch him, that's when Taraba kind of falls over with a scash and completely disintegrates. And you have a plip, and what the hell is this? And you see Pissarro squirting something into this weird ass looking mouth gun. He goes, a gift for you, Omnibus. Here it comes, your new body. And you have the blam, and he shoots something that looks like a squash towards Omnibus. He's like, you want to use that? It's like, fine, my life is yours. It's like, for Olympia. And he's like, ugh! And as he gets impaled, you see all these like vines and things shooting out of him. And you see the big one's starting to change somehow. You have a whoa as all the tentacles trying to kind of like retreat. And you have, indeed, Arduino's undergoing a major transformation. Did the Venus team just shoot some kind of dart at him? And he's like, rum. It's like, what did you do to Ygritte? It's like, deployed a V-Graph bullet, an application of pipped tech. Look, inorganic and organic plant and animal power and intelligence. The advantages of all fused into one. Genome Kingdom's ultimate creature, Gargantua. And you see this swamp thing looking motherfucker rising up out of the thing. And yeah, tournament rules have been tossed out the window as a 500-meter tall giant rises. It's like, it's too tall for the arena. You see smashing into the lights overhead. It's like, and its weight is tipping us over. No, the arena itself is being taken over by roots. I see Zeka just sit there looking bored, going, I never thought he'd take down Taraba. That werewolf's pretty good. But that weird guy behind the scenes, now he really pisses me off. And you see the giant ant swamp thing kind of roaring. And you see right up kind of like near where the nose intersects with the forehead, you see Omnibus kind of looking down as he's kind of like merged into it. Pissarro goes, take a good look, dear. Your sweet Omnibus battle finale. She's like, what? But you said he would survive. And he goes, once fused to Arduino at a cellular level, Omnibus cannot revert to his own form. And Gargantua's entire lifespan is only 2 hours. Even if he wins, he won't be able to enter the finals tomorrow. But we have alternates. A certain amount of sacrifices to be expected against the likes of Zeka's team. God. And you see, an Omnibus is well aware of our strategy. He has a singular purpose, to eliminate the enemies in the semifinals even if it kills him. A great Guinal specifically created for this match. I've spent so much time and money on him and my status within the company is riding on this. So calm Olympia, let's cheer him on together. And you see Olympia's just crying. And she thinks back going, to live with Ygritte in peace, an impossible dream. Not even that, we're fated to live only as we were designed. At last I know, the true reason he goes to such desperate lengths. I was a fool to wish for something I could not have. As she looks back, she sees the a little like a pincer from the creature that Taraba killed sitting nearby. Jeff, what is that? A cumulonimbus cloud? You see down below on one of the walls, you see a whoosh as Toji's doing something. Yeah, the appearance of this giant has increased the difference in electric potential in the atmosphere to record levels. The true value of super electromagnetic karate lies in its ability to manipulate an atmosphere. This is the move I couldn't use while I shared the field with my allies. And you see a scratch as he takes a fighting pose again. And you see lightning striking behind him. He goes, now is the time to break its seal. And you see Pissarro go, die as you live with grandeur. And you see behind him that, God, why am I so bad with names today? Olympia has kind of hoisted the pincer behind her as she snuck up behind Pissarro. And he's like, what are you doing? Put that thing down, girl. And she goes, you say my tears are a lie, but right now they flow just for him and me. And with the zash, she just slices it right through Pissarro's midsection as she bisects him. As we get to chapter 80, the last proof of identity. And you see her just kind of like pulling the thing, or throwing the pincer as she sliced through him. She goes flying back. And you see with the crick, it's broken off. As Pissarro's top half kind of goes flying. And he goes, you think you can change your destiny? Like this? Your futile gesture won't make Omnibus happy. And she goes, Monsieur Pissarro, you are not omnipotent. You couldn't predict Ygritte's tactics as he fought. You had such a fear of him that you needed me to manipulate him with lies, to fill him with doubt. Your attitude and words, status and fame, the creatures you designed, all of it was to hide your weakness. You're nothing but a maggot. He's like, ugh, yeah. And you see just his face separating from the rest of the body and kind of crawling away. And you see with the touch, as all the component parts just kind of start separating, and I assume he died. And Olympa's like, we're free. Ygritte, free at last. And you see a storm is brewing. The supercell Toji created is even bigger than Gargantua. It's like a battle between the ancient titans. And you see Toji still in his battle stance going, come now, super electromagnetic boost. And you see little ports he had on him just like powered up with the word. And you see a whoosh as this giant tornado comes and touches down with a shoom. And you see Toji just leaping straight into it. It's like, Toji leapt into the tornado. And you see Storm Void. It's like lightning kick. He goes flying with the sidekick straight towards the Gargantua, which tries to stop it with his arm. And he just rips and smashes through it. It's like, there, you see it, folks. The left arm of Gargantua torn to shreds. It's like Toji's like a thunder god, riding a tornado and even throwing lightning bolts. And Toji's like, it's the finest attack I have, though by its very nature it lacks precision. So, but next time, I will strike at the vitals. And Omnibus goes, I know your weakness, Toji. My howl will shatter your hearing. Ooh. And you see him just drawing in his breath as he goes, feedback wave. And you hear this giant key sound. Sorry, I'm not going to try to do the shout because it'll destroy my throat. And you see Toji's brain's getting assaulted. As the gah! You see all these vibrations going throughout the arena. You have a what? And you see a section of it gets torn off and thrown towards Toji. And with the gah! He tries to punch it to stop it. Oh, I have to admit this is very, very confusing with how the art direction is laid out in this. So it looks like he grabbed a panel off the side and basically tossed it towards Toji using his arm. And he used it to kind of smash him and throw him off the arena into one of the side of the walls. And you see Alita just sitting there eating the little fish bun. And is watching this with amusement. You see her brum 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 as the thing drops down with a ching. As Alita's like, he's gone. You see hurl it, a shield generator, an unprecedented move. Toji's reduced to space debris. It's like both camps are completely out of players. And yes, at last, it comes down to the leaders. And Zeka's like, oh boy. I see a whoomsh. It's like, oh my god, the karate forces platform. And you see the Gargantua just grabbed it, smashed it into the ground. You have a crude attack, but what an impact. How could even Zeka withstand that? And you see a boom and a smash as one of Gargantua's legs just explodes. And you see a Thum that kind of like has to stop down to stop itself. And Zeka goes, damn brat. Looks like you insist on being killed by the strongest fist in the cosmos. And Omnibu's looking down as he goes, it won't be so easy. Your weakness is not unknown to me. And Zeka's like, oh, you better fill me in. What smart-ass banter. I can't believe we're created from the same DNA. And then you see Olympa trying to be like, Ygritte, please stop. And he glances over at her. As she goes, you needn't suffer like this anymore. Don't you see I'm free? As are you. He's dead. I had to kill him. He's like, who did you kill? He's like, Monsieur Pissarro. It was the only way. And now we can run away together. He goes, but how can I run? He's like, please, Olympa, don't take away my reason to fight. And she's looking at him kind of shocked confusion. And Zeka's like, don't you get it? Combat is a man's ultimate assertion of identity. So keep your nose out of this. She's like, why? It's like with the Thum as Gargantua leaps out again. It's Zeka with his arms. Like, I don't understand. Lord. And you see this ugly, envy-looking goblin thing. Like, so Pissarro's mouth unzips. You see this ugly, envy-looking goblin thing crawling out. Going, a mere doll. Created to imitate humanity. Call me, genius designer Pissarro Krier, a maggot. And he pulls out a gun and goes, how dare she? And shoots her in the back with a swam. As we get to chapter 81, the concept of happiness. And as she turns around with a swish, you see this drill just kind of poking out from between her chest. And you have a swoosh as a flower kind of sprouts out from it. You see a scrick as all these thorns and explodes into a bunch of thorns. And he goes, so pretty, my rose bullet. Now let us watch the brambles spread through your sweet body, Olympa, irreparably destroying every organ and electrical circuit in their path. It's back to the trash heap for you. And she's like, Crick. He's like, Olympa? He's like, Olympa! As he's looking at her body kind of falling off the platform. And you see a krish and rup, 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 rup. As an explosion in his head. And you have what the? And a scrish. You see a raw as apparently Omnibu's kind of like torn himself free of the body. His top half's just hurtling towards Olympa. And he kind of grabs her in a hug. And basically uses his body as a cushion as they slam into the ground. And you have, without any warning whatsoever, the entire upper body of Gargantua has fallen to the ground. Was it an invisible strike from Zeka that did this? He's like, nope, not me. It's like, that's it then. It's all over. It was a mistake to imbue a queen all with human emotions. Now I must beat a hasty retreat. So this is not an auspicious location. Uncontrolled by Omnibu, Gargantua will consume everything and anything in its path. He's like, out of my way. What is it with you? And you see all the little other body parts picking up his previous corpse, kind of crawling towards him. He's like, I'm your creator. Object of trick cannot defy the human race. You have an eek! Oh, that is one gross panel. Very, very berserky vibes with like all the body horror and gore. Very beautiful as well as you see all of his body parts just getting ripped apart. And you see with as he's cradling Olympa, going, why? It's like, how did this happen, Olympa? She kind of cradles his face and goes, I'm fine. Without you, Ygritte, freedom is meaningless to me. I just wanted to be happy with you. He's like, happy? It's like, I don't understand. Tell me, what should I have done? It's like, tell me. And you see that she's dead. Look at the thorns have worked their way through her body. And Zeka's like, I don't blame you for not getting it. It's like, the way I see it, whoever invented the concept of happiness had to be a woman. So of course a man doesn't stand a chance in hell of understanding it. just like a woman will never understand a man's dreams. And Omnibus goes, I don't have the strength left to fight. Zeka, you win. And you see the remains of Behemoth kind of just coming in, it's like smashed into the wall. And you see the roots of Gargantua are enveloping the entire arena. Our situation is precarious. And you see recently where the Venus team's kind of little hideout is consuming it as well. He's like, whoa, it got eaten. Perhaps we should continue our reporting from a safer distance. And Zek kind of leaps away as he goes, I thought I'd never be satisfied until I socked you right in the face, but you can just owe me one in your next life. After you're reborn, I'm really going to pummel you, so prepare yourself. And Om goes, if I can be reborn as a human being, let us meet again. And you see Gargantua kind of just closes in on him. Zeka goes, putting your life on the line for a woman. Well, that is also a man's dream. He goes, both of you were more human than you ever knew. And he does a show's fist down and comes smashing down onto Behemoth. And you see a voom. And you have a, what the? Full bloom. It's as if Zeka's fist produced a miracle. And you see a sham as this giant tree is grown out of the remains of Behemoth. And Zeka's just kind of sitting there. Alright, this is a gorgeous panel. I'll admit that is phenomenal. Because I need a drink. And we see after a tremendous battle, the space karate forces have prevailed. A showdown with the Alita Space Angels will finally be a reality. And you see... God, why am I so bad with names today? I, for the life of me, cannot remember what her name is. My brain is dead. I have to look this up now. This is going to bug me. I apologize, but... give me a second here. Oh, Zazie. God. It's just one of those days when my brain just refuses to function. So you see Zazie walking around on the outside of the little promenade area. It's like, Alita, where did she go? And she kind of staggers and then puts her fingertips up against the wall. And you see a vis, as like these little vibrations are going out. And you see a boom as the little like TV monitor explodes. And Zazie's like, oh no, I'm out of time. And then she collapses. Alright, one more chapter and then I think I will cut it off there. And you see Toji kind of floating out in space. As he goes, I thought I'd finally grasped something. Well, chapter 82, How You've Matured. He said, but I was still so naive. For it's too large and too beautiful. And you see him just kind of looking down at the planet, examining his beauty. And you see a room as the ship comes up behind him. And you have the patrol ship reports that Toji has been recovered. And Aga's like, will he make it to the finals? The damage was not significant, sir. So get him prepped for tomorrow then. He's like, yes, sir. And he's like, hey. And then you see Zek's kind of just sitting in the, I see him kind of locker room, looking super serious. Goes, only one more day till I go up against Zeka. And you see him thinking back to the fight he had with him when he did the fist implosion. And he goes, I have a greater variety of moves, but they leave me too vulnerable. And I doubt any of them will connect. So combine Angrif with plasma? Nah, it'll just end up filling his stomach. I'm at supersonic speed while motionless. And you see Zex going, I think it's just an empty threat, but how can I be sure after all he's said and done? And yet supersonic while standing still? What a contradiction. And he thinks back to Zeka saying, once you figure out what that means, you'll be able to handle your Physiroid body a bit better. And Zex is just kind of like gritting his teeth. He's like, I'm not that smart to begin with. Don't give me homework. The next time I see him, I'll kill him. It's like, so, he's moving, yet at rest. Something that's always moving, even though it seems like it's standing still. And as he's looking down at his palm, he's like, this. And he seems to come to something like a light bulb moment happens. It's like the polytein gel circulating inside our bodies. By increasing its flow speed to supersonic, Zeka was able to generate supersized power and super speed without a wind-up. It's simple once you know the trick. And Zeka's just grinning. He's like, hey, just you watch, Zeka. This time, I'll show you something. And you see Elephant's Wolf just kind of coming in and watching him. Come and make funny faces. And then they write moron in his face and do like little doodles on his face. He's like, I'll kill you! As they run away. It's like a supersonic circulatory system. Easier said than done. The internal pressure and drag are off the charts. I can't even maintain my shape. I'll have to fiddle with this a lot more. And you have Elephant's Wolf going, that was fun. What shall we play with next? Ugh. And you have, hello, little bunnies. Please choose me as your next playmate. And you see Rakan just creeping out, diving on them from above with a hee-hee. And then you see her back to Zex like, bunny girls have got to go. And you see, what you doing? It's like, oh, Zex, hi. It's like they just drug her in. Like, Zazie! You see Zazie laid out on the table. It's like, how can you sleep at a time like this? It's like, hey! And he's trying to grab Zazie by the shirt collar. He's like, don't be shaking my patient's noggin like that. And you see as he touches Zazie's face, like, zinked. He's like, whoa! He's like, raise your head, boy. He's like this, boss? He's like, look out, step away! He's like, huh? And as he steps back, so you see his body start to vibrate. He's like, huh? My hands, all pins and needles. It's like, oh, it's going up my arms. Kind of tickles. And Zex just comes in with a wham and just smashes his arm off. He's like, what the hell did you do that for? He's like, eek, my arm, both arms. And she goes, his head would have burst like a melon if I hadn't severed his arms. Hurts a Heion vibrations. So what's going on? So let's ask the only one who could have done this. It's like, I know you're here. Quit hiding. Show yourself. And you see Alita just comes in through one of the little furnace vent entrances and just kind of cross-legged sits there. And Zex grabs and goes, why'd you do it? Damn it, wasn't Zazie your friend? Or our friend? And Alita's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I apologize for eating all the takoyaki, but... And Zex goes, don't play dumb with me. Who besides you would use such an advanced creepy technique? Alita's like, let go of me. He's like, what if I said no? You see a fish and a twoosh as Alita just kind of somersaults over Zex. Ends up on the other side. Alita goes, huh, I never imagined I'd hear the word friend out of your mouth. How you've matured. And Zex goes, you've never needed anyone but yourself, Alita. I was stupid to think we're teammates. Let's settle this. And you see them both just taking a battle pose. Like, stop this, you idiots. Can't go out and fight in such a tight space. And you see Zazie kind of putting out arms to stop him, going, cut it out, you two. It's like, Zazie. It's like, Alita didn't do this to me. It's like, it all started a month ago. On Mars. It's like, a month ago? On Mars? And they both just look at each other, since they're both concerned, like, as they look away. It's like, you two. Zazie's like, I'm sorry. Sorry it took me so long to tell you that it caused such a misunderstanding. So tell me more. You see Zazie going, I met a Panzerkünstler on Mars. Well, I don't know if met is the right word. I'll start from the beginning. After we left you on Leviathan 1, we returned to Mars. There I was given a new assignment. I joined the mission to recapture Olympus Spaceport, which was occupied by guerrillas. Oh, Lord. Alright, one more chapter. I have to get into this backstory. I cannot stop there. As we get a month ago, Olympus Spaceport recovery attempt, Operation Hagel. And you see Unit 402. Red Team has taken control of the central tower. 12 hostages have been secured. And you see Unit 402, New Order Anti-Terrorist Special Operation Force, central to this mission. Then you have no sign of the enemy leader, Captain Kirbitzer. It's like, he got out? It's like, tell Deimos to beef up the perimeter. Have a Zambor support team relieve our personnel. Red Team continue to secure the central tower. You see Deimos is Deimos Mercenary Service, a Martian private military company. Zambor support team is a Martian private military spec ops support team. And Gespenst is Mars Kingdom Airborne Brigade, German for Ghost. You have Gespenst failed to accomplish the Sierra Dome hostage rescue. That's 1,000 folks with no chance of survival. Jeff, K-Troop has engaged the enemy at Echo Buildings. We have already have reports of multiple hostage deaths. If it moves, shoot it. It's a good God. This is what happens when your forces are reduced to hodgepodge units for political purposes. Jeff, I must agree, it entirely lacks any standard of military purity. It would have been far simpler if you just left everything to us in the Union. Jeff, you jest. You'd crush the planet to make ingredients for your troposphere. And you have arch rivals do not a strong team make. While our foes aim to inflame ancient discord, we shall free the hostages upon the honor of the Kingdom Parliament. Zazie, Gigi, I'm counting on you. You have Zebra and Alpha teams of contact with the enemy. Close the November Dome bulkheads. They split the enemy forces and the hostages. Beta team storm the dome, secure the hostages' safety. Oof, a lot of information going down. And you see Zazie all laid out in combat gear, shooting down what looks like some kind of pig elephant mixed thing. And you have a Coom, you have Trevor, Kong, Mauer, report. All good over here. Clean on this side too. And you see a whip as a little enemy like recon bats flying overhead. You have no sign of the enemy so far. So I thought we were going to take on some Nazi flying saucers, but they're all robots. What's the challenge in that? You have Beta Team report. It's like lay off the Nazi jokes, Kong. You have this is Beta Team Gigi here. Hostages are all safe. Request Zamberson and recovery team. And you have well done. We will now transition to phase 2. Alpha Team support Venus Foreign Legion Squad Q. So you want us to clean up Venus's mess? Like hell. It's like, yeah, make sure GE5 do it. So control, please explain, over. And you have Gesprent is now engaged with K-Troopa. GHQ is trying to stop Federation Party 886 from intervening further. And you have cut the crap, you babies, and do your job. The enemy would love to split the Allied forces into factions. We can't fall for their tricks. And you have Zazie going, the enemy has quite a tactician. So the ones who hit Squad Q seem different from the others. There's no information disclosure as usual, so details are unknown. Use caution. You have will do. So you have Voom, as they're on this little train track heading towards the port. And then you see a whoosh. There's a burning vehicle 2 clicks ahead on the other track. So wait, who's that? You see someone that looks a lot like Alita. As you see a woman, you have blip as the recon unit gets taken out. It's like, I've lost her. It's like, sniper? It's like, no, she was unarmed and there was no gunshot. I'll launch the spare to confirm. It's like, I see her now. It's like, I'll get her. It's like, wait, she might be a civilian. It's like, what do we do? It's like, what do we do? And Zazie's like, fire. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't shoot. And Jeff, idiot. As he steps in front of the cannon right before it shoots, you see a Fushoom as he gets sent flying with it. The hell? And he's like, she's my angel. And you see Mauer. And you see a boom as the other flaming one gets exploded. And you have a chalk as they load another rocket to fire. You see Kashak as the flaming unit goes flying overhead on their one. Again, artwork in this volume so far has been out of this world. And you see Crash as it comes to a stop behind him. And Kong's like, Mauer. So he's not the sort of bloke who do a crazy thing like that. Excuse me. And Zazie's like, anyone else see a woman back there? I said, nope, not me. How about you, Trevor? Trevor? And he whips around with the zish, and his head just gets sliced into 2 and he falls apart. He's like, was he hit by debris? Talk about bad luck. He's like, no, look at the cut. Enemy attack, stay alert. Kong. He's like, Kong? Oh, shit. You see a shadoo as Kong's top half just completely disappeared and he collapses backwards with a whoop. And you see I'm right behind you. So mysterious shadow just goes right behind Zazie, freaks out, turns around, tries to fire on with the blah. It's like, and you see a thump as the support gives away beneath the little train thing. And Zazi's just like hanging on to the edge. It's like she's on my tail. And Zazie, oh god, sometimes so I kind of find it confusing. Zazie hooks her leg and gets like flips herself out of the hole. And as she does, she sees that the assassin figure's kind of like holding onto her back. Zazie tries to kick out, and the figure just leaps onto her foot instead, and uses it as a foothold to bounce off. It's like whoosh and a shoe. And the next one you see a shoelace. Zazie puts the knife up in front of her face so that the shoelace gets caught in it, but it even starts cutting through the knife. And she's like, cut. It's like, if she keeps clinging to my back. It's like a thump. As the person kind of like this is why it's kind of hard to describe these movements when there's so many going on. But she curls her legs around Zaz to make secure a hold on her. It's gonna fall onto the tracks. And the figure goes, sehr gut, but what if I do this? And she flips Zazie around so she's facing towards the track. She's trying to push her face towards it. And you see Zazie just trying to resist, and she's like putting down her armor and stuff to try and stop her. And the figure just standing on her back. She goes, ha ha ha, gut, sehr gut. On the battlefield, an attack from behind means death. Yet you stayed level-headed and took action. A soldier with such nerves of steel is rare, even on Mars. And Zazie goes, save your idle talk until after you kill me. And you see Zazie's pulled out a grenade. The figure goes, ha! And leaps off her back onto the train. And Zazie also leaps back on. And she sees that she's still holding the grenade. She's looking around. And she's a boom. And she sees that her arm is vibrating. And, oh, Lord. And Zazie immediately pulls out a gun and shoots herself in the wrist. And the figure goes, so, you know the Verschlag, do you? The outside world must not learn of it. It's like, you use Panzerkunst? It's like, if you had jumped from the utility vehicle, you might have escaped me. It's like, why did you stay? Zazie goes, come on, how could I just meekly crawl away when my men have been executed? The figure goes, I wish we could talk some more, but too bad, we're out of time. This is the end of the line. Zazie goes, you were the second Panzerkunstler to use the Verschlag on me. The first was called Yoko. The figure looks at her in surprise. She goes, when was that? And Zazie's like, bait and catch. She goes, now they call her Alita. She said she was planning to enter the Zot in a couple of weeks' time. You might catch her on the telly. And you have, she's alive? And Zazie takes the pin out of the grenade, tosses it, flips over and fires at the figure. He's like, what? He's like, where am I? And you see it looks like she's surrounded in darkness. He's like, and that girl, where did everything go? I can't tell up from down. Am I an OG? Can't hear a thing. Silence. He's like, no, wait. It's like a deafening roar. My head feels like it's splitting in half. I think I'll change my mind. It's like that woman, her voice. It's like, I'll let you live a little while longer. And you see whoosh, something huge falling. The moon? Oh. Again, just phenomenal work with the art this volume. I see a vroom with a giant grenade falling towards her. And you see kablam! As the train thing just goes flying into a heaping fiery trash pile. You see Alpha Team, come in! Alpha Team! As we get the extra guide. Dare I do one more chapter? Dare I do one more chapter? This feels like we got to the halfway point. You know what? I cannot, with this chapter title, this will actually legitimately be the last chapter though. So we see alias Frau X, and I'm guessing this is Alita's companion friend whose name I cannot for the life of me remember. But we see Pro-Mars Kingdom Parliament Faction Base Camp. As we have Operation Halo was a success, but that casualty count, not to my liking. Alias Frau X, a mysterious enemy who single-handedly killed over 30 elite soldiers from various countries. Zazie, you were the only one to survive her onslaught. Frau X left few clues for us. On the combat log, her voice just comes through as noise. And you see you use Panzerkunst, you have shishkasht as they're doing a playback. And you see the shoelace is standard squad Q equipment. The severed section is broken down at a molecular level. We don't even know how that was possible. You have an outdated martial art that was thought to be defunct long ago. With its methods exposed and its exploits now but legend, we need to rethink everything we know about the Panzerkunst. The reality is, we know nothing of its true capabilities. And worse, to date we have no way of coping with Panzerkunst in close-range combat. You see the next day page, Zai's kind of looking over at all the memorials they've built for the fallen soldiers. And you have losing men, and never get used to it. There's something, and Zazie goes, there's something I don't get. With 100 opportunities to kill me, why did she let me live? Given the danger of word getting out. So maybe the gods of war were on your side. Don't brood over it, Zazie. And she's like, she knew Alita. I have to warn her. And he goes, she hears a vroom, like a vibrating sound. She goes, the sound of her slug? But it's been 3 days since the battle. And she pulls out her gun. He's like, what? He's like, this isn't real. He's like, is it? From where? He's like, here. And she puts the gun to her head. And the other officer pulls it away with the blam. As the gun fires off with the blam. He's like, get a grip on yourself. You know, to blow your own head off. He's like, have to stop the Verschlag. That roar. My body going numb. She goes, oh, doctor, the captain's awake. He's like, can you hear me? He's like, how do you feel? He's like, fine. He's like, oh, waterbed? He's like, dry up. He's like, ah, towel, danke. He's like, see, told ya. Captain Zazie just won't die. She goes, so, Lubin, Kanali, how come you're all wet? What happened while I slept? And he goes, a lot. He goes, Gigi, what's with your arm? He's like, when I drug you back, I saw it was Verschlag. I half doubted myself, but what a scary technique. It's like, the Verschlag? Spread? So, that's what the waterbed is for. She goes, the Verschlag is a soliton wave with a specific oscillation frequency and a precisely modulated trajectory. The energy is comparable to a shot from a small bore pistol bullet, but when it resonates with the surrounding materials, it causes far more destruction. They say tens of thousands of these soliton waves have been reflecting inside my skull, without decaying. The doc said these soliton waves are designed to localize in one spot, within a month or so, at which time they'll convert into explosive energy, blowing my head off and killing me. First, the team of doctors tried a craniotomy to relieve the Verschlag and transplant my brain to a different body. They gave it up after the Verschlag spread to the staff and resulted in injuries. You see that the machine blew up with the force of it, as were the doctor's hands. And you see the next proposal was to neutralize the soliton waves with waves of an opposite phase. But they gave up again after realizing it would take decades to calculate the trajectories of all those soliton waves. Which they can't blame them, that's for sure. A time bomb with a booby trap. I don't need physicians, I need a bomb squad. But since the explosion doesn't involve anyone else, it's not worth a big fuss. It's like, I'll be off now. Queen Lemuria doesn't need to. And Gigi goes, don't worry, haven't told her. It's like, man, Captain Zazie's so cool. It's like to think something like the Dim Mach actually exists. See, the Dim Mach is the death touch, a slow-acting pressure point attack along acupuncture meridians. J.F. Ghibli is said to have witnessed a demonstration by a martial artist called Ho Shin Yang in 1957 Taiwan. Its mechanism is different from the one employed by Frau X. And Gigi goes, why didn't Frau X just kill Zazie right away? I've got a theory for you. It must have bugged Frau X that Zazie didn't panic or lose her composure. She wants to crush Zazie's pride by forcing him to experience the fear of death through this dim Mach kind of thing. And you see, as Zazie's walking away, you see a crack as her glasses start to vibrate and explode. And she takes it off and tosses it out and goes, seems like it's more trouble than it's worth. And Gigi's like, well, let me tell you, in this match, or is that Zazie still talking? Yes, so Zazie goes, she can kill dozens with just a shoelace. So why expend all this effort to nail a single soldier? If Frau X is going to lose, Zazie will never fall apart. I see Zazie at a meeting with Lemuria and all her little ministers and everything. So now, calm down, Minister Ho. And Zazie's like, I don't fear death, I welcome it. dying is part of a soldier's job, but I do have one regret. And it goes, you see the broadcast of Jack Garombo coming to you live on Combat TV. The huge once-in-a-decade event, the Zenith of Things tourney, Zot for short, is in progress. Teams from around the solar system are pouring into the lunar city of Ptolemaeus. Entry is confirmed for Alita and Toji, who previously fought on Leviathan 1, for the Space Angels and the Space Karate Forces respectively. And you see Lemire just kind of side-eyeing Zazie. She goes, Zazie, are you okay? He's like, yes, ma'am. Lemire is like, I hear the first flight to Cytheris is going to take off after the Olympus spaceport reopens. And Zazie's like, yes. So Lemire comes up and hands her something, goes, but this is a ticket. She goes, you should go. And Zazie kind of kneels down and goes, I can't do that. If I leave Mars now, I won't make it back alive. I swore fealty to Queen Lemuria. I can't sway for my loyalty for someone else. And she goes, don't worry about me. You go and help Alita. After all, another Panzerkünstler might be able to undo the work of a Panzerkünstler. And Zazie's just shocked. She's like, Queen Lemuria. I was like, she knows? It's like, she might be a Panzerkünstler, but Alita isn't in the same league. She can't undo the damage. She's like, I won't go. I wish to die by your side. And you see Lemire just taking a regal pose as she goes, then by imperial command, as your queen, Zazie, I order you to go to Cytheris to support the Space Angels. And she goes, and come back safe and sound. And you see that Zazie's about to tear up, and she goes, as you wish, my queen. And you see a boom, and she sees the rocket taking off. She goes, Queen Lemuria. So we get to chapter 85. Can you do that? And I will actually stop it there because we are now well over an hour. So quick thoughts, I guess, on this. I won't do like a full review thing until I've completely finished the volume. I'm not gonna lie, the first half of this volume was a little bit disappointing, and it felt a little bit disjointed. Like Omnibus and like Olympus' whole like relationship and like his his whole existential crisis. It gave me a lot of Josquin vibes, like kind of going for like the same similarities in character arcs and like having pride in your thing, like all that kind of stuff. But it just didn't land with the same impact that Josquin's arc did. And I don't know if that was because of the limited amount of setup or just the muddiness, I guess, of the narrative with Omnibus and like what his purpose and everything was. And apart from like while the art was good, like the double page spreads and everything else, there was also moments within the fight choreography within these chapters where it felt a little bit too muddled and confused. Like it was kind of hard to follow the action a little bit sometimes, which is kind of a minor complaint given the scope and the scale of the fights and like how like the limited page space you're working with. I get that the certain cuts have to be made, certain artistic like creative decisions have to be made with it while still ensuring the fight feels dynamic. So it's not like a huge letdown for me to be like, took away too much for the fight and everything else. I think more so than other fights in the series, this one felt like the most egregious example of that so far in the series. So that one was a little bit disappointing. Again, like Taraba's thing, like again, it felt like it was trying to evoke a specific kind of emotion, but I don't feel like Taraba's arc really landed with the impact I think Ishiro Sensei wanted to go for. Like it felt a little bit lackluster, and I might have to do a couple of more rereads to kind of pinpoint specifically what felt lackluster about it. But yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, at least with the first half. It was not as compelling or entertaining as I expected it to be. But again, I guess that was partly to be expected, given that the Space Karate Force and the other ones weren't really the most compelling of the characters, and like they didn't really play off of each other super well compared to the other groups in the series thus far. That said, once we got to the Alita Zek stuff, the Zazie stuff, that I felt like Ashiro was, since he was back in his element again, that felt like, had a stronger narrative focus and direction. So I'm looking forward to where that goes. I swear I had the name of Alita's friend on my tongue, and then as soon as I wanted to say what it was, that's when my mind just completely wiped it. But I'll look it up and refresh my memory for the next video. But I'm curious to see how this will play out with the Space Karate Forces versus Alita. And I won't talk about this like too much in depth here. I'll probably do like a bigger review of the entire series once I finish with the last volume. But it is interesting, kind of the contrast between the groups and the people that see humanity as constantly need to evolve and grow and like upgrade themselves versus the androids and the robots and the non-humans kind of seeing it the opposite way, who are built to be superhuman and trying to find kind of the characteristics that define kind of like the basics of humanity. So I do like the interesting like the contrast between those kinds of two separate groups and kind of like the question of what it means to be human, like the I guess the question of like existence basically. So it'll be interesting or curious to see what answers, if any, we get with regards to that. Also, I'm a little bit mixed on Alita this volume as well. Like, she felt a little bit more, I don't know if it was just because of the art or if it was because of her rebirth since last time, but she felt a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, apathetic, I guess, compared to last time. Like when Zex was kind of calling her out for not caring enough about Zazie, it felt like an off moment. And I don't know if this was again because enlightenment is obviously like a big theme, especially in the last two volumes. Like Ashiro, since it's kind of like touched on, if not really directly addressed. So I wonder if this was kind of just kind of like a nod to that, and the whole idea of like you have to remove all your earthly pleasures. You have to kind of like rise above all this. Let go your earthly tether, and all that. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play in with the Space Karate Forces things, especially with Toji, who seems like he's kind of slowly climbing that path to finding enlightenment, like his teacher did. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all those kind of things come to play in the last volume and chapter, stuff like that. So yeah, since we're about a little bit more than halfway in this volume, we will most likely finish Last Order next week sometime. Like I mentioned last week's video, I'm not going to do Mars Chronicle right away. I'm going to take a break so I can finish Lazarus, Vinland Saga, a couple of the other series I have going on before I get back into it. But while I'm doing that, like after I finish this, I do want to work on two separate videos talking about the original Battle Angel Alita series and kind of like my overall thoughts on that and the themes and stuff in the story there, as well as one for Last Order, again talking about the same things as well. So that'll be something to look forward to at some point, but that's going to be like well in the future, so I don't have an estimated date or thing or timeline for that yet. But just so you're aware of kind of like where my head is at with the series. With that said, thank you all for joining me. This video ran a little bit longer than I intended it to, but Shuasensa does know how to kind of keep me coming back for more in this series, and I really could not stop at a pivotal narrative moment like that. But I do hope you all enjoyed this extended video. Like I said, I will do another one. I'll get back to the last part of this where I close out the series next week. Next week I'll actually try to get it done on Saturday. I just got preoccupied this time with doing it. I'll actually try to live stream it next time. I might I'll try to get a channel update out today. If not, look for it sometime during the week with plans for what's happening after Alita. As always, thank you all for tuning in. If you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.